Hey, seventh graders. Good morning. It is May 6th, and here is your math lesson for today. We are still working on percent problems. On Monday, we solved simple find the percent, find the whole, find the part problems. Yesterday, we built on that and talked about percent change, so percent increase and percent decrease. And in today's lesson, we're going to do some practice questions that involve percent change in a question, but it doesn't necessarily say percent increase. It might say a tax or a tip or a discount. So same skills, new context of our story problems. Also, one thing that you'll need to do, one part of the seventh grade standard for this skill is to recognize expressions that can help you to find the percent or the value that you need. And we've been using ratio tables, not expressions. So today we're also going to get a little bit more flexible and use algebra to model our thinking. So I'm excited to dive in. Let's get started. Here's practice question number 1. Go ahead and just follow along with me. We'll do this one together. Timmy wants to buy a scooter and the price was $50. When he goes to the store a second time, he found that the price was marked down by 20%. Do you know what marked down means? Marked down means a decrease in the price by 20%. It's a 20% discount. Which statements below are true? Select all that apply. Okay, so let's just think about this for a minute. He sees a scooter one day, it was $50. He goes to the store again, and the price was marked down. Do you think that the new price is greater or less than the original? If you were thinking the price was less, you are right. A discount means the price drops. So what do you think about answer choice A? The scooter is now cheaper than when he saw it originally. Yep, I think A is true. If the price decreases, then it is cheaper. What about B? The new cost of the scooter is more than $50. Remember, the original price is $50. This one is not true. Go ahead and jot on your paper why. I'm going to put the cost and then a down arrow for decreases. The cost decreases, so the new cost can't be more than $50. How about C? He can determine the new cost of the scooter by multiplying 50 by 0 and 2/10. This expression, this is what I was talking about, recognizing expressions that will help us to solve the problem. This expression would tell you 20% of 50, okay? This expression would tell you 80% of 50. One of these will tell you the new cost. Which one do you think it is? If the discount is 20%, that means the new cost is 80%, the other part of 100%. So D is true. C tells us what? Does it tell us the new cost, 20% of 50? No, C tells us the discount. So I'm going to jot a note here, not true. 20% is discount. Go ahead and update your paper. I'm doing this with my mouse. I wish I had a touch screen. The 20% is the discount, not the new cost. All right, so your paper should look like this. I'm going to erase it, so if you need a moment, go ahead and pause the video here. All right, so here's one more look at what your paper should look like, what your notes should look like. I do want to just jot down how we thought about answer choice C and D, because that's a big part of our objective, and I want to make sure it's really clear. So let's take a few notes underneath your work for question 1. Okay. If I want to find the percent of something, I could write a ratio table. So I'm going to go ahead and jot a note. What are some strategies I could use? I could use a ratio table. Personally, I love this strategy for 7th graders because it's so connected to the work that you've been doing really well in 6th grade and 7th grade with ratios and proportional relationships. However, as you move into 8th grade and into high school, you spend a lot more time with algebra. So another strategy you can use is to write an expression or an equation to find a quick percent. This could work to solve for any of those 3 parts, part, whole, or percent. You have heard me say blank percent of blank is blank, and that can turn itself into an equation. However, if I'm just trying to find what is the new price, I know, or what is the discount, I actually know that if I want to find 20% of $50, I can quickly write an expression to show that. All I need to do is translate these 3 parts into algebra. When I write an expression with a percent, I always convert it to a decimal. So 20%, I can think of 20% of 1 is 0 and 2 tenths, or 0 and 20 hundredths. I just moved the decimal point 2 places to the left. Of tells me to multiply in this case, and in all these percent problems we'll do today. And 50 is my original price, my whole, or my total. That's my 100% value. So if I want to find 20% of 50, I can do 0.2 times 50, and that's going to give me my answer. Okay. I know that that represents the discount in this problem. So if I want to find the new price, what I actually might do, if I want to find the new price, what I actually might do is take my original percent, 100%, and I do this in my head, by the way, and I take away 20%. I know that's what's left will be 80%. So if it's asking me what's the new price of that discounted item, I actually want to find 80% of $50. Go ahead and translate that into an expression. I'm going to cover up my work and do it with you. Try to do it on your own. How can I write 80% of $50 as an expression? Did you get it? I got 0.8, or 0 and 8 tenths times 50. Okay, so this is the expression that shows me the new price, right? 80% of the original. Okay, so not only are we going to use ratio tables to solve today, but given the context of these problems, we're actually going to start to use some expressions. And when you get really good at this strategy, it might make your work even faster, which will be exciting. Let's keep working. Here is question 2. Mr. Kelsey usually prices the umbrellas in his store at $8 each. That sounds like my original amount. However, on rainy days, he marks up the price by 75%. All right, I'm going to bold that. Do you know what marking up the price is? It means increasing the price. So when it's raining, more people are going to want to buy umbrellas, even though they're expensive on that day. So he can mark up the price and make more money in his business if he increases the price of the umbrellas. So markup is like the opposite of discount, okay? So he marks up the price by 75%. How much does he charge for an umbrella on a rainy day? I'm going to give you a minute to try this one. I want you to use what you're comfortable with, either a ratio table or an expression to solve. I'm going to use an expression, so that's the strategy we'll try when we come back together. Go ahead. It's okay to use a calculator, so please feel free to do that as you're solving. All right, I want to show you two different expressions I used. If you'd like a little bit more think time before you listen, please take it by pausing the video. All right, here is my first strategy. I knew the original price was $8 and there was a 75% markup to that price. So I thought at first, I'm going to find 75% of 8. That's going to give me the markup. That's going to give me the, yes, it's not going to give me the new price. It's going to give me 75% of the new price, right? So I changed that to 0 and 75 hundredths times 8, and I got 6. Is 6 the new price? No, 6 is the markup. It's 75% of the original price. So what I had to do is take that markup and add it to the original price. So the original 100% total whole value plus the markup equals $14. So on a rainy day, he can increase the price of his umbrella to $14 instead of just 8. Okay. I want to show you another way to think about it, one that I think is even faster. So I want to challenge you to start to think about it this way too. If I know that it's being marked up and I want to find the new price, I actually want to find the sum of 100% and 75%, my original amount plus my markup. So I actually want to find 175% of 8. You'll see that sum here as well as in my original work here when I added the original cost and the markup together. So if I want to find 175% of 8, I can multiply 1 and 75 hundredths times 8, and I'll get 14. Go ahead and punch that in your calculator to confirm that you agree with that strategy. Awesome. This works to do that sum ahead of time or to do that sum at the end. Either way, it's really important to think about what the question is asking for. Okay, this question was asking for how much can he sell the umbrella for? He can sell the umbrella for the original cost plus that 75%, the original cost plus that 75%, $14. Go ahead and pause here and enter the answer for this question in the Google form. All you need to type in is the answer. Do that now. Awesome, we are ready to move on to the next question. All right, Carlos earns 15% commission on his sales. Ooh, do you know what commission is? If you sell things for your job, you often earn commission. Commission is like extra income. So every time you sell some product for the company, you get a commission or a percent of that. So commission is often represented as percents. If his sales last month totaled $500, how much was his commission? So remember, he gets 15% of his sales. His sales were $500. Solve this problem using either a ratio table or an expression. Go. I want you to think carefully. Should you be adding that 15% to the 100% or not? That's your choice. And we'll see if you've got it when we come back together. Last few seconds, check to see if your answer makes sense. The commission should be 15% of the sales. That's an alarming sound. All right, here we go. To solve this problem, you just needed to find 15% of 500. I used an expression, I got 75. His commission was $75. Big star in your paper if you got number 3 right on your first try. If you use a ratio table, percent and value, Same thing, I know that $500 was my original amount, that's 100%. I want to find 15%. Okay. I like using this within ratio relationship times 5 times 5, 15 times 5, you guessed it, is 75. Both strategies are great. You pick your favorite, and a bonus if you write down both on your paper. All right, let's try question number 4. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I want you to read and choose your answer. For any answers that you don't pick, write why you didn't think they were true on your paper. Can't wait to see that on your notes upload. 1 minute, go. I want you to think really carefully about whether you should add that 8% to your 100%. If so, what would it look like in an expression? Oh gosh. I'm gonna need to find a timer that isn't quite so alarming. All right, I know I'm gonna pay an 8% tax. Whoops. Yeah, I know I'm gonna pay an 8% tax. A tax is an increase in the price that we pay that goes to the government for goods and services that we use. The subtotal on the restaurant bill was $50. And I'm looking for the total amount that I'm gonna spend at the restaurant. Is the total amount that I'm going to spend at the restaurant 8% of 50? No, the total amount that I spend on the restaurant is 8% of 50 plus the original $50, right? So I can write that algebraically in a lot of different ways. You could try writing the expression yourself first and then selecting the answer that makes sense, or you could think about what each of these expressions might represent. Okay, let's do it that way. Looking at A, this 0.08 times 50 to me looks like 8% of 50. 8% of 50 is the tax. It's asking though for the total amount. So is A true? No, A is not true. I'm not going to be selecting A. A is the expression that represents the tax only. What about B? It looks like this is an expression. If there were an 8% discount, what's the price you would pay? If I asked you what's the price you would pay with an 8% discount, you would subtract 8% from 100% and you'd get 92. So this shows 92% of 50. This one's not true. This shows I'm going to put percent decrease. I put percent and then a down arrow. This shows a percent decrease, but we know tax is increasing. So B, not true. How about C? 1 800 times 50. C looks pretty good. This is the total, the 100%, and the 8% of 50. So this is 108% of 50. Will that give me the total amount I spend? I think so. I think C is correct. I'm going to go ahead and shade it in. How about D? C and D start out the same, but D also adds 8 more percent. So D is not true. Okay. For question 4, C is the perfect answer. I want to show you also what I did on my paper. I took a different strategy, and maybe you did the same. I first thought 8% of 50, that would give me the tax. If I wanted to find the total amount, I would take 108% of 50, right? 108% is the same as 1/800 as a decimal, okay? So answer choice C is correct. All right, let's go ahead and enter our answer for question number 4 on our Google form. Please do that now. Awesome, let's try the next one, question 5. All right, lunch costs $12. This includes the tax, and you leave a 20% tip. What was the total amount you spent at lunch? 1 minute is yours. Go. It scares me every time. So it scare you guys, and maybe I'll turn it on mute. All right. There we go, there's question 5. I just about finished my ratio table strategy. I'm gonna finish that one first. I know my original value was 12, that was the subtotal for lunch. 20% of that was 2 4/10. So if I wanna know the total, then all I need to do is add together my original amount plus my tip. You could also find 120% in your table and you'd get 14 4/10, same answer. I might also write an expression. 20% of 12 would give me the tip, the amount of the tip. 120% of 12 would give me the total. And that's what I'm looking for. It says, what's the total you'll spend? So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. 1 20/100 times 12, and I got 14.40 was the total I would spend at lunch. If you got $2.40 or 2.4, you just didn't add that back into the original. So pay careful attention. The question said, what was the total amount, not what was the tip? Okay. Friends, last one. There we go. I want you to read and try it on your own. Use a ratio table or an expression to help you, your choice. Go. Remember, it's okay to use a calculator. All right, let's come back together. A sales tax is an increase on our price, so we're going to increase this price by 9%. I was thinking I want to find 109% of the original cost, $34.90. That's because I take my original plus 9% more. When I did that multiplication, I got 38 and 401 thousandths. However, the answer is money, so I changed my answer. I rounded it to the hundredths place, $38.40. Awesome. We are ready for our question of the day. For today's question of the day, I just want you to enter the answer for question 6 in your Google form. Please type the answer exactly as you see it here, including with that $sign, including with the decimal point, including with this 0 at the end. The answer exactly like this in your Google form for the question of the day. Go ahead and pause the video here and do that now. Excellent. Just a reminder, if you don't type in those answers exactly in your Google form, it will not grade it correctly. When you click View Score on your Google form, you should see the video questions 3 out of 3. If you missed one, I want you to go back and edit your score, rewatch that part of the video, and enter your answer really carefully so the computer can grade it correctly. Okay, that way you get credit for the work that you're doing. That's it for me. Today on your to-do list, you have your independent practice, you have your skill builder, and then have an awesome day. Be really nice to your family, and I will see you guys back here.